Small Talk is the show where we express ourselves with small randomness. We fill every show with something different. There is no topic too big or too small for us to cover. Our show doesn't have a real path that we follow, and that's what makes it fun to watch. So let's get to the show. Hi guys, welcome to Small Talk. So today I'm attempting. So what happens on my shows most of the time, when I have guests, they're great, but I end up running through everything like within 5 minutes, and it's supposed to be a 30-minute show, and I end up like grasping for like thoughts in my brain. So we're going to try to take it a little slow today, make sure that we actually go the full 25-30 minutes that we're supposed to. So a couple like things to remember that I'm also trying to remember is word of the week. Remember at the very beginning when I started my show, I said, we're going to be doing a word of the week every week. So be sure to listen in throughout the show to figure out what the word is going to be. And something I just want to touch base real quick. Something that's kind of, maybe it is coming back in trend and Teddy mentioned this a couple weeks ago. She was like, I'm really feeling like chunky sweaters. And, like, literally, that's, like, I know it's 90 degrees outside. We're in South Florida. In case for those of you that did not know, we're in South Florida. It's 90 degrees out. 95? Like, scorching, like, 100, basically. I'm in a freaking sweater. But you know what? I'm kind of dying in it, but I'm super comfortable, and it's super cozy. JCPenney, $6 clearance. I love it. I love it when I can find cute stuff for, like, nothing. I go to Penny's all the time. And my mom's like, because I come home with not bags, but like a whole bag of stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I got this all for like $50. Because Penny's is like, I just shopped their clearance rack. It's super cute. So, anyway, today on the show, we're having, don't bring them on yet. That's another thing. Like, I guess I'm not very good at my cues. So, like, they end up bringing the guest over before I'm ready. It's like, oh, okay. I'm not doing it. I wait for the point. The point? Okay. So, today I have a friend of mine. We've had a few classes together at FAU. And we're in our final and complicated class together, I guess you could call it. It's not the class that's complicated. It's kind of the professor. Not that she makes it complicated, but she can make things kind of confusing. I don't know if you've ever had that where it's like the class is great and all, but you have this confusing professor, I guess you could say. I was wondering why I was like eating my mic. This is why. There we go. Not eating my mic anymore. So anyway, we're in this class together. It's our final class. My final class. His final class. He's got more classes. I only have one. Anyway, he is a photographer. He does some other things on the side. And I was like, I'm looking for guests this week. You want to come on? He was like, sure. So he's great. His name is Oliver. He does this photography on the side. Well, I guess it's been paying the bills, I guess. It's his thing for now. It's not his final thing. It's not his end game. Like we do what we can to survive the school and the time we are in right now because we are in COVID. No one thought we would ever have to deal with a pandemic. I never thought in my lifetime I would have to deal with this, let alone like my parents, because they're obviously in a different world. I don't know anyone that had to go through like the Spanish flu. I guess no one's around, at least that I know of. But yeah, we are in a pandemic, so we have to do things to survive. And it is a great thing to do. His pictures are amazing. I was looking at some of them on Instagram prior to this, and he's a really cool, chill guy. So I guess, Teddy, we are ready to bring him over. And there he is. Are you there?
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah.
How we doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. So let's dive right into it. How did you're into photography. Wow, if I could speak. You're into photography, right?
Yes.
How
Yes,
did
I
you get
am.
involved?
That's an interesting story. I guess you can say it started when I was like really, really young. First job I ever wanted to do was be a firefighter. And then I realized that's really dangerous. And then I moved on to drawing, and I realized I couldn't draw hands and feet. And then,
You could not draw
so
hands and feet. Is that what you said?
n- yeah, I couldn't draw hands and feet to save my life. So I knew drawing was never going to work out for me. Never, like, I loved animation, that couldn't work. And then my uncle's like, "Hey, I've got a camera. I do this. Why don't you try?" I was like maybe 8 or 9 years old. He gave me my first camera, and then I just started taking pictures of like anything I could see, or dogs, nature, people, and I kind of fell in love with it.
So, is your uncle a professional photographer, or it's just like a hobby that he did?
Um, he did it as a business. He
Okay.
doesn't do it anymore, but back in the day, he used to run like a studio, and he would do photos, music videos, and stuff like that. And I was like, "Oh my god, that's really cool! People can get paid for that." And then he's like, "Yeah, yeah, here, try it." So
That's real cool. So, what made you choose the path of photography?
I think there's something beautiful with capturing moments, whether it be like on guard, off guard, freezing time in an image. There's something just, I don't know, grandiose about that whole process, and I love it. I love photography. It's just one of those things that just makes people feel good. They like to see. Sometimes people don't even see themselves a certain way until you actually capture it.
Right.
So I love bringing that smile to other people's faces through photography.
So, photography is like is like a mirror image type of thing. It like, I don't know, you get to see something else that someone, like, people don't see.
Exactly.
Side note, grandiose is a word my grandpa used all the time. Anytime I hear it, it makes me smile. I did not know him. He died when I was a baby. But I've heard stories about the word grandiose, and my mom just, like, she's like, that was a grandpa word. So, had to smile. Side note.
Yay, old people vocabulary.
Yeah, right? By the way, we are like in our mid 20s, so the fact that we're saying old people vocabulary is just another hilarious thing.
Ooh, we're getting there.
So, how long have you been doing photography?
Uh, I guess you could say 10 plus years, but professionally, I started maybe my senior year of high school. So that
Okay,
was
so
like,
it was one of those things where it started out as like a hobby and then it grew professionally.
yeah, yep,
Very cool.
exactly.
And what were you doing before you started doing photography? I guess you had mentioned you tried to dabble, like you wanted to be a firefighter, and then was like, well, that's not gonna work. Then you tried drawing, that didn't work either. So, what were you doing before?
Before photography, I guess you could say editing. Editing really, like, I didn't really pick up a. I mean, I did pick up a camera. They kind of went hand in hand with each other. But when I was a kid, YouTube was just coming out. It was like, I think 2007. So
Right.
YouTube was just a fresh thing. And before you could just go out with your little camcorders, I would take images and videos and go on Windows Movie Maker and just slap music to it and kind of just see what I could do. And that's what I used to do. And then I realized, hey, this is kind of like filmmaking. So I was like, okay, maybe I could do this as a profession.
So, are we strictly photography, or you dabble in the videography too?
Yeah, both.
Both.
Photography is, yeah, yeah. Photography would be like something I love to do, but Endgame definitely. I'm trying to be Steven Spielberg.
Ah. So you want to be director, movie maker, like the next hottest director.
Yes, yes, black tie and everything. Oh my God, Oscars, Tonys, Grammys, all of it.
And for those of you that didn't know, if you couldn't tell, I mentioned that Oliver and I have taken classes together at FAU. I am a film major, so if you couldn't figure out where we met, that is where. In actually the same professor we've had about 4 times, I think.
Oof. Yeah, yeah, consecutively.
And that
I love
is
her though.
the same professor we have in the spinal class. That's a little, what do you say? Out there,
Mm,
stressful, confusing,
scatterbrain.
scatterbrain. It's a great class, though. Nonetheless, she does a lot of the same thing, but you know what? It's repetition's good, I think.
Mm,
Think. But
true.
filmmaking, animation is really the classes that we met in. And so, do you like animation?
Oh, I love animation. If I could draw hands and feet, I would probably be the next Walt Disney. But they all come out crooked and nasty looking, and it's just, nah.
So, photography, do you ever do like stop motion things within like pictures or like in your adventures of scouting, I guess, locations for
Mm.
potential shoots? Do you ever do like stop motion type of thing?
I've dabbled in it before. It's stop motion's very how do I say it? Time consuming, but like
Yes.
fulfilling process. Just getting a bunch of stills and people moving or objects moving can be oof. It's like a Herculean task, but you end up loving it.
Right. I've never attempted stop motion because I've heard things about it. Like, you have to have the time and the patience for it because
Yeah.
it's like, if you don't know what stop motion is, it's you take a picture, you move something like maybe an inch, and then you take another picture, and then you move it an inch. That's what it is, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So it's very time consuming. You have to have the patience for it. But it's great. When you've got it, it's amazing.
that is true. It's a
So
dying art form.
it's a what?
Dying art form.
Yes. It is. I think it's one of those things where it goes in phases, like it's in and that's not, and it's in.
Mm,
That sort of like fashion, I guess.
sure, sure.
I'm a girl. I throw fashion in there sometimes.
No, that's fair. Drip is drip. I like it. I like it.
So, have you always had the interest in photography, like to do it professionally?
Once I realized you could make a lot of money and you could hang out with like all these cool, crazy artists, I was like, yeah, nah, I have to be the guy in the room that always carries his camera because I always like to say my camera is like my secret, like Batman, how he always has his utility belt. That's how
Yeah.
I feel whenever I have my camera. If I don't have it, I feel like I feel naked. I can't do it.
That's quite interesting because I don't think I've ever seen a camera on you. Maybe it's in your car and you don't bring it to
Yeah,
class. Is that what it
yeah,
is?
it's yeah, because a bunch of people and then
Because, so you know how people have like a backpack and like 500 things in a classroom? Oliver's the type where he's got a pencil in his pocket and that's about it.
yeah, yeah.
No
I'm very
bag,
bohemian.
no notebook, a pencil or pen in the pocket, and that's like it. So the fact that he says like camera is like his tool belt, I'm like, where's the camera? It's in the car. That's where it is.
Lock and key.
So, what's one thing you've really enjoyed about being a photographer? So, you mentioned about that you get to do like all these crazy shoots and you get to meet amazing people. Is that what it is, or what's so
Uh,
enjoyable that you keep doing it?
I think besides the fact that you get to meet all these different people, photography gives you an excuse to travel.
Mm.
If it wasn't for photography, I don't think I actually be able to go to places that I've been able to go. I've gone to concerts. I've gone to different states. It's really fun, and it's one of those things where you can just capture the image of something that you're not familiar with,
Right.
and then keep that like as a time capsule. I think it's really cool.
Who have you met? You keep mentioning that you've met really cool people. Is there anyone that really stands out that you've met?
Uh, Most of the people that I've met are like underground rappers.
Oh, okay. Up and coming people.
Yeah. So no one like super big like Heidi
Ah,
Klum or something like that. That'd be cool, but not yet.
I was gonna say if there's anyone big, let me know because I would love to be an assistant there.
I'll definitely slide your way.
So we know you do some videography. What
Hmm.
between the two evils, like camera versus videography, what's your more go to? Are you more still or video?
Uh, well, lately it's been because of the whole COVID thing. It's been mostly video,
Mm-hmm.
believe it or not. Uh, I think 2 weeks ago was the first time in a long time before the lockdown that I actually took some photos. We went to Wynwood,
Mm-hmm.
which is a great place to take pictures, and I just realized how much I missed taking pictures. But I had my video camera with me too, and we ended up making a couple of montages, and it was, man, taking videos is fun. It's super time consuming. Actually, it takes me less time to work on photos than it does videos.
Well, yeah, because like some editing videos isn't always as hard as editing hours and hours of footage. Well, I guess it can be kind of the same thing,
Yeah,
right?
it depends honestly, because when it comes to how I enhance my photos, I always make sure that they pop out. They're very like
Hot,
pleasing to the eye
like
and
different,
stuff.
right?
Exactly. When it comes to video, it's more like make sure everything's timed to a certain beat. Make sure like the eye line is perfect. Make sure
Right.
people's skin tones are perfect. So
Continuity's the same. That's like one of the first things they teach you. Is like
exactly,
if you're doing different shoots on different days, and say I'm wearing the sweater in one shoot, I have to wear the sweater again. So that way the continuity's like all the same. And it's not like, well, she was wearing a sweater this shot, and then here she's not, and then in the next scene she's wearing that sweater again. So it's like
exactly.
I don't know, it's hard. And so with photography, the continuity doesn't always have to be the same, right? Because that's just the trend.
Um, Not necessarily. It depends. If like let's say we're doing a haul, like in terms for like if somebody's promoting like a fashion line or a certain brand or whatever, it doesn't necessarily have to be all in coherence with each other, but it can vary because sometimes you could be taking pictures of like I don't know, a whole like summer dress, and then the other minute you're taking pictures with people with like jackets, like you're saying, and it's Florida, so I don't know
Right.
why you wear jackets, but then I'm a hypocrite because every time you've seen me, I'm wearing like a big old bulky jacket, so
Yes,
it is what it is.
you're the same as me. It's like, well, it's 90 degrees out, but as soon as I go into a freezing classroom, I'm gonna freeze my butt off. So I'd rather sweat a little bit from the car to the classroom than be cold in class.
Exactly. And why have a jacket if you can't wear it?
That's true. So, is what type of shoots do you do? Is there a favorite type?
Okay, my favorite type of shoot would be I guess like with music videos and models, but not like the super rap kind, but it's more like I'll have like a cool creative designer who she'll like they're usually women that come up to me because I'm friendly with a lot of people, but for whatever
Right.
reason I'm friendly with a lot of women, and they'd be like, "Hey, I've got this new outfit, or I've got this new art piece that I really want to show up and show off," and that's always the most fun because whenever they see the pictures or the videos post the process, their eyes always bug out because they're like, "Oh my god, how did you get my pictures like this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you made good stuff." I'm like, I'm barely doing the work. Like it's mostly you guys.
So you're like a magic man with a camera.
Yeah, David Copperfield. Is that the right guy, David Copperfield, or am I confusing it?
I'm the worst film major ever. Oh, okay. So my producer is telling me that yes, he is a magician. So I guess you're
Woo.
on the scale there. I'm the worst film major ever because I don't watch movies. I don't know who people are. So
Mm. Oof.
so bad. But you know what? We're getting there. Opening that,
Trying.
but I'm opening that movie platter a little bit.
Mm. That's good.
So you get a lot of create freedom in your shoots, I guess, right? When you do them,
Yes.
that's good.
Yeah. It's very collaborative. I don't always try to like dictate and be Napoleon on set. It's usually very hands on with the talent. They'd be like, "Hey, what do you think about this and that?" And I'll tell them like, I always have a process whenever I'm working with someone. I go, pitch me your idea, and then I will do my best of. I'll try the best of my abilities to bring your idea to life, and then I'll just sprinkle in a little bit of what I see in my head.
I love that. Your pictures are amazing, and like just the sheer fact that like you don't, you're not like most photographers, I guess, where you have that much of a saying, but it's like you do and you don't, I guess.
Mhm.
Which is really good to have in a photographer and a cinematographer. It's like
Yeah, yeah.
so. Speaking of your shoots, how do you charge?
The rates are very different depending on what we're doing because it can vary. Like, let's say we're doing a music video, we have rate fees for location, travel, who's helping me with the outfits, our costume coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
So it very much depends. But if it's like I'm doing a photo shoot or videos for a wedding, that can be a whole different beast on itself because that can be either me or someone helping or usually by myself versus something like a music video where we have an entire crew together and then I've got to pay dues for them.
Right. Do you usually have a big crew with you, or are you kind of like a solo guy?
For the most part, it's just me, but depending on the task and if it's a multiple day shoot, I do tend to have like one or two people with me just to make sure, everything goes smoothly. But
Right.
for the most part, it's just me.
That's awesome. And then before we started the show, you were talking about how you're into podcasting. How did
Yes.
you get involved in that? Was that kind of a partake during like the quarantine where it was like, well, I'm not really shooting, I'm not really videographing, like I'm not really doing anything, but I'm home and I've got a good voice for commentating.
So funny thing about that, I would stream. So I picked up streaming in terms of like Twitch and all that stuff not too long ago, and people kept telling me, "Hey, your voice is really good. You should do radio and stuff." And I was like, "Okay, all right. I guess everybody keeps bothering me about it. I guess I'll try it." And man, about a year ago, I was like, okay, this is something I really want to do. I fell in love with a podcast called Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum,
Oh, okay.
and that was one of my favorite podcasts to listen to because the host of that podcast was actually on a TV show I grew up loving. So, like, if anyone's ever seen Smallville, I love you.
I
Yeah,
have
so
not.
go watch it. It's corny, but I love it. Um, and the host was very insightful and cool. And I was like, okay, so I could actually talk to people about different things. And then I was like, all right, let me do it. And that's kind of how this thing manifested.
And where can they find your podcast or your channel?
You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify now. We are the High Ground Podcast. We talk about all things pop culture, movies, like stuff like that. We talk about what movies are coming out, how we would rewrite stuff, or we talk about celebrities, stuff like that.
Very Hollywood feel, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. And then, so for your photography, how can people get in touch? I can't speak today.
It's
How can people get in contact with you about a possible shoot or just to find out more information about getting their photography business off the ground?
best two ways to contact me are at Instagram, at Oliver Cinema. If you can't find me there, I do have a Gmail address. It is ollieconnorsfilms@gmail.com. Those are the best two ways to get in touch with me if you want to talk about shooting or you have any questions or just want to chat about things of that nature. Those are the best two ways to reach me. I'd say try Instagram first if my email doesn't work out. And my Instagram does have a link to my email, so it's hand in hand. So definitely try Instagram.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
Later.
Well, there you go. That was Oliver with Oliver Cinemas Films. My mind just went blank. It's on there. Ollie Cinema on Instagram. He has great photography. He was telling me about some of the rates. Like, he didn't go into detail here, but like the numbers are very much affordable. He's a great guy. He, like you said, he's easygoing, talk to. He very much is in person. And I'm telling you, he's got this creative brain that just explodes. He's great to work with. Definitely look him up, hit him up for shoots, photography, videography, all the area. If you've got an event, whatever. He's great. Definitely go check him out. So if you didn't catch it, the word of the week is photography. I love to play on the words, I guess. I try to make it easy to find, to try to figure out the word of the week. And look at that. We went 30 minutes today. So proud of myself. I think that only happened like once. Teddy's like clapping. We're getting better at this, guys. I know I've been doing it for like 2 months, but you know what? Sometimes it takes time to like really figure it out. Because I was thinking about it last week. I was like, why am I going through my shows in like 10 minutes? Well, it's because I introduce the show and then I go right to the guest and then I only talk for 20 minutes and then it's like, well, that's it. So spreading it out, right? You live and you learn. That does it for us today. We'll tune in next week. I don't know what we're going to talk about. We'll find out. Remember, think big, stay small, guys. Here at Small Talk, we inspire to be different. We have guests from all sorts of topics, like bakeries, DJs, archery, advocacy on special topics, and just random thoughts. We also produce and edit videos and commercials. No amount of footage is too big or small. That is our motto. We can do fun experimental videos or documentaries on serious and fun topics. We are a one-stop shop, as I like to call it. Call today at 866-224-5422 or email me at smalltalktv2020@gmail.com.